Moin moin and hello ladies and gentlemen, Donspektor here with another IEM review, and today for you I have the Myer Audio CK2V. Yes, we are taking a look at one of Myer Audio's IEMs and we check out what this thing can or can't do. First, this is the outside thing that you remove. I didn't put it on after my unboxing because this shit is a pain to remove. It's so tight, it's near impossible to pull off, and you can see here that's why the actual packaging is a bit scratched, because it's just too tight on there. And other than that, we have this generic printing, and on the side here sticker with the frequency response, again very trustworthy, and again a sticker with the most useful information here. That's the box, again black, unmarked. Thankfully this though easily opens. And then on the inside we do get this paper on top, and beneath that the accessories and the IEM. So in this thick foam here, again it's a big box, they could have probably shrunken it, it would still be protecting well, but yeah, I mean, it's at least premium in quotes. And you get this carrying case with the IEM, that's again this hockey puck style here. When you close it, let me just do that for you. It is sturdy enough, it does squish a bit, but not too much. But you can see here, the zipper here is a bit of a weak point, and so it will basically compress like this, but shouldn't be too much of an issue in day-to-day life. Zipper itself though is very smooth, and of course this is fake leather, and no, this is not real stitches, this is all fake stitches, it's all glued, which can be a bit of a problem. And on the inside here, both sides are felt covered. Unfortunately though, there's no net for accessories, so there will be improvement potential here. And accessory wise, we do get again a pretty nice set. This is again spin fit type silicone ear tips, Rendo has a bit more sticky rubber silicone ear tips, and one M set of foam tips. So overall this can be described as pretty damn good, and together with the 4.4 Pentacon this cable comes with, I would say for the price point it is still good, but I mean the Defiant from the same OEM is cheaper, and it comes with foam tips that probably will be more usable for most people. So overall there would still be improvement potential here, but it's pretty good. Then next let's get the IEM in. Here's the bad boy. First today, IEM Build. This is the bad boy here, and as you might already been able to see from the proportion to my finger, this is generally a relatively small IEM. The faceplate here is not super colorful, it is kind of this weird golden grayish color. Not my cup of tea, but might be yours. And again we have this CKLVX whatever, I don't know why they choose this random combination of syllables, of letters. But in the details, this IEM is totally fine built considering its price point. The resin here is again not solid, so it's not the heaviest and not the best built, but generally doesn't feel cheap at all. And the integration of the nozzle here seems to be alright, it doesn't rock, it doesn't rattle, and yeah, I have no real complaints here. Also the mesh in the front seems to be integrated well, I have no issues with this, there's no glue residues or anything weird. And this nice thing, there's a visible LR indicator here, which seems to be in the actual in the resin here. It's not on top of it, so this will also not wear off at any time. Also nice to see. And then faceplate integration, you can see the seams around here, how this is working. But because it's integrated in the resin, there's no seam all around. Like, it's just an overall very smooth feeling IEM. And my biggest complaint with this probably is here, this connector, because you can see it extrudes slightly over this resin here. And that means first, it is a bit sensitive if you just go over it. Second, if you just transport it in a bit more rough conditions, this can be an additional friction point. And third, I don't even know how well this is glued in here. I have been using this for a couple weeks now, and so far it looks fine. But still, I'm not sure how well this holds up over time, so I will put a question mark on this in terms of longevity. And one thing to keep in mind, if I manage to remove the cable here, this cable is a recessed 2-pin, so not all of your 2-pin connectors will fit in here. The one it comes with though fits absolutely fine, and in terms of overall build, I don't really have many complaints with this. As I said, only this thing here is a bit of a question mark for me, but other than that, it seems to be well made. Next, the cable, and you have probably, or might have seen my video for the Defiant, and Defiant also a really good cable considering its price point. Mine is a small issue. And here the small issue is fixed. That means the locking mechanism here, which screws on like this, here is integrated a bit better. That means it doesn't screw itself as easily loose. And because it's better integrated in the overall structure, it also helps you to grip this a bit better overall. Yeah, and other than this, as you can see, easy to screw on and screw off still. There's a strain release at the back here, which does get the job done nicely. And which the defined cable also had, there's a small indicator here showing you how to orient this. That's also a nice detail. The actual cores here, you do get 4 thicker cores, and they seem to be twisted together well. I don't have any complaints here. It also is generally a pretty smooth cable, as you can see here. It came like this, it's still like this. It's nicely smooth, very well usable in day-to-day life. Splitter, but further up, fits the color scheme overall, no complaints here. Cable thickness on top is exactly the same as the bottom, so also a bit on the thicker side without being too thick. Chin slider. This is one of the best chin sliders I've seen in a long time. It stays in place, it has some friction so it doesn't move around in any way, but it also doesn't take too much, so you can still easily move it with just 2 fingers. Very nicely done here. And last but not least, let's come to the top part of the cable here, the ear hook. You can check out here, rubberization is definitely medium thick, so not thin, not thick, just somewhere in the middle. Springiness is definitely more on the springy side. And as you can also see here, there has some texturing going on. This is not my favorite. I prefer flat cables where you don't have any potential pressure hotspots. But this overall was totally fine to my ear, like to my actual outer ear. The bending radius here is pretty average, not small, not big. So I don't think most people will have complaints here. Just keep in mind, if your ear is a bit bigger, this can get a bit uncomfortable for you due to the texturing here and the rubberiness or the springiness being a bit higher. And last but not least, the 2-pin connectors, you can see here, color indicator for the sides, I like to see that. And it has a bit of a longer end here at the bottom, which makes sense because it's for recessed IEMs. Let's get the left side here. Again, you can see it's recessed and you just insert it exactly like this. And then you can see it just has a tiny bit of additional space around here. Overall, for the considering the price here of like below 200 bucks, I think this is a really nice cable. Like it very much. There's no real complaints I have with this. And yeah, let's continue. Coming to comfort and fit. And as I already said, this is definitely a bit on the smaller side of IEMs. Let me quickly get in here the comparison for you. This is the Defiant. You can already see this is a bit more chunky from the faceplate from the front. But it's also a bit more curvy in this direction. And also the nozzle, let me quickly remove the ear tip again. As you can see here, is a tiny bit bigger and it also is a bit longer. And that means in A-B comparison here, it seems to be a bit small. And in my ear it also is fat. It much more resembles something like the Singolo than other hybrid IEMs. And that means it does fit really nicely. Combined especially with the contouring it has, which isn't too strong. The insertion angles, which aren't too much. And the nozzle, which isn't too wide. So overall, this is a really nice fitting IEM. I can literally have it for hours on end without any issue. I just want to remind you, due to the nozzle and the shell not inserting that deep, if you have a bigger or deeper ear, you might want to use longer ear tips with this. For me personally, medium-sized or medium-length ear tips were totally fine. Tuning-wise though, you might want to prefer an either really wide outlet ear tip or a really small outlet ear tip. We talk about this later on. But yeah, overall, this is a very comfortable IEM and really absolutely no complaints here. Next, isolation. And again, this is a semi-custom shell IEM. It does fit very well. That means it should also isolate well, and yeah, it does. I don't really have any complaints as well, again, in terms of isolation. But I do think that something like the Defiant here, probably also because it's a bit bigger, it does isolate a bit better, but not much. And that means this is enough for basically all situations. And only when you are in a busy city center, you should probably consider putting foam tips on this. But everything else is nice and you really can wear this in day-to-day everywhere, due to its pretty good isolation. Then let's tackle drivability here, and this bad boy clocks in at 40 ohms at 108 decibel per milliwatt. So as far as hybrid goes, this is not really efficient. It's actually the opposite. It's pretty inefficient. But I can already give you the summary here. You really don't need much power to drive this. The Apple dongle was sufficiently enough to give me about give or take 80% of what this IEM is capable of, and upping the power to something like the BTR5 or up 5 gave me then the whole 100%. And as it is the case with most other IEMs, you get a bit better bass, you do get a bit better staging with a bit more power, but not much. And if you only have Apple dongle, you'll be fine. If you have something better, well, it will be a tiny bit better. Then coming to sound characteristics here, and this thing can be best described as a U-shaped signature. Meaning it has definitely increased treble, especially the upper treble of this one, and increased bass, but this is mostly sub bass here, so it's very well defined. And I think with sound here it can be pretty brief, because the treble overall, by measuring pretty nicely, it doesn't sound as nice as it measures. My measurements don't really indicate this, but there's huge amounts of energy past 10K, and there's one peak which I think could be at like 11K or something like that, which makes this really grainy. Basically everything you listen to, it doesn't matter if it's metal, if it's synthwave, it's fusion jazz, normal jazz, orchestra, it's grainy. It's too grainy to a point where really the overall timbre of the treble is off. And I always hear it like this like splash where it's just overly pronounced, while at the same time also not sounding as detailed as other IEMs with similar amounts of treble that I have heard. So it's a bit of a strange overall treble representation. And my best guess overall is that combined with the 2.8K peak, which should have to my ear been a bit lower, like 2.5K, and then the 5.5K peak, that also resolves at 5.5K, and then the really high amount of energy past 10K doesn't really harmonize in quotes together. And that means I would recommend you using EQ with this one to just bring down the treble, just see where the peak where is for you. Because again, with upper treble, for my ear this might be at 11 or 12K. Well, for you it might not be as pronounced, or it might be at 14K, who knows? So really see how it sounds for you if you use this, and just bring down the energy you want to. Or other alternative, just use an IEM with a thinner outlet, like this one here, the ST35. This can reduce upper treble a bit, and it will help a bit with the artificial soundingness here. But overall, I think the treble here is fine, but it just doesn't sound as good as it measures overall. As I said, I would like more 2.5K energy to my ear, and then a bit less upper treble overall, but it's fine. Like in most of my tracks, it doesn't matter if it's jazz or metal or some synthwave, it's fine. It just doesn't strike me as nicely balanced. The mids though, I mean, the graph doesn't lie here, the mids are very good. They are, without any exception, clean, well defined, not too cold, not overly forward. We are just very enjoyable overall. Which then brings me to the star of this IEM, and I can already tell you, if you are just after the best bass at like 200 and below, this is it. Look no further, ladies and gentlemen, this is the best bass you can get below 200. I'm really not over exaggerating here. The bass is, it punches, it has weight, it's hefty, it's not even slow, and it just gives you a really nice meaty feeling. Really, every synthwave that usually lives and dies through the bass line, boy is this enjoyable with this IEM. Really, without any question, best bass I've heard below $200 here. And the only issue that you might have is sub bass, because while it still manages in my benchmark track 2 minutes 15, it has like a bass drop that starts at 2 minutes 10, rolls off at 2 minutes 16 to all the way to 20 Hertz. 2 minutes 15 is a bit above average, but not amazing, and that means the lowest bass notes are a bit lackluster, but they're still there, and you do get the nice rumble that most other IEMs also have, and maybe even a bit better. Next we come to the remaining technicalities here, Soundstage, layering and imaging, and somehow Soundstage with this one I didn't feel like was that great. Most things are happening kind of in the center, and while imaging is pretty spot on, you can tell things are coming left, right, up, down. I still think the overall stage size is a bit small, and that also combined with the layering, which is mostly 3 layers for whatever reason. Like I didn't really even get 5 layers. Again, a bit lackluster here. But if you're just after imaging, this will get the job done. Like really, I could play Hunt Showdown with this without any issues. It's just the stage is a bit on the smaller side, even for IEMs. Next we come to separation, dynamics and coherence. And as you might have guessed by the frequency response, yeah, this is a pretty nicely separating IEM. There's really no issues here, all instrument lines are clearly defined, vocals are well defined, and really separation is definitively on the strong side here. Dynamics though, I mean, it's a bit of a letdown. I come from the Defiant, which I said had pretty good dynamics, and this one is just a bit lacking there. Usually quiet passages, especially when they have like splash and sizzle, are definitively too loud and they pop a bit too much. And that means overall the balance in terms of dynamics is a bit off, because those things are supposed to be quiet and they're not supposed to pop like this. And that means also that the coherence overall is off. The sound's a bit, yeah, definitively grainy, a bit metallic, and I'm pretty sure most people will not enjoy this upper treble representation here, which unfortunately then affects the entire treble region. And sure, in some jazz tracks that are generally a bit smoother mixed, this sounds pretty enjoyable. But in other ones, it's just too much, and I just want to turn it down. And that's why I also ended up using the ST35 ear tips here, because with this, you tame the upper treble a bit. It's just a few decibels, but it's exactly what you need to bring this to an overall better coherence. As is with normal ear tips, it's just a bit much. And yeah, just sound a bit incoherent in the upper treble region. Bringing me to the verdict. I mean, yeah, I did really enjoy the Defiant, especially considering its price. And this clearly being done by the same OEM, I expected it to also be nice. And while the comfort of this is really nice, the accessories are good, I still think at this price point it should sound a bit better out of the box. It shouldn't be up to me to fix the upper treble, and it shouldn't be up to me to do this with EQ or an ear tip. It just should sound a bit more natural out of the box. And that means while you can definitively find enjoyment in this one, I think it's just too much upper treble. The peak there, somewhere, it's just too much. And it makes it even more strange because detail-wise, this is somehow not even a detail monster. I have heard planars that measured with less upper treble basically everywhere, and that sounded way more detailed than this. So I'm not sure how they managed to get an IEM that has a huge amount of upper treble, but not really that many details. And as I said, you can definitely find enjoyment with this. In some fusion jazz tracks that are a bit more quiet, a bit more relaxed, it sounds really good. And also due to the mids being very nicely defined, yeah, also vocal tracks can be very nice, but overall, I still struggle to give this a recommendation. It's just not on par in terms of overall tonality. And if you want something that has upper treble splash, right, really to a degree that's unnatural, this will give you that. I just wouldn't recommend it because at this price point, it should just be a bit better as an overall package and it shouldn't sound as unnatural as this does. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Questions, recommendations, or criticisms, please leave a comment. Donspektor out.